Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna go over the best single credit card to have in your wallet. Now I'm someone who has a ton of credit cards. I love using the different credit cards that I have to maximize a return on my spend. But the one thing that I've learned with talking to many people about credit cards is that most people do not want to have a bunch of credit cards in their wallet. Most people want to just have a single credit card that they get to use for all of their purchases. Now, while I wouldn't recommend this because I'd recommend to at least have 2 credit cards to shuffle between to get yourself the best return, I realized that even though many people will get themselves multiple credit cards, they're only gonna usually use 1 credit card for all of the purchases. So what I decided to do with this video is come out with a list of credit cards that I feel can end up being the best single credit card to have in your wallet. Now I actually have 3 different categories. I'm going to have a no annual fee category, an annual fee category, and also a luxury credit card category. Each category is going to have 4 different credit cards in that category, and I'm gonna come up with a winner for each category that I think they're gonna end up being the best use case for the vast majority of people. Now the first category is going to be no annual fee cards. Now the 4 cards I have listed in this category are going to be the Chase Freedom Flex, the Capital One Saver One card, the Citi Double Cash card, and then the Wells Fargo Autograph card. Now first, let's go over the Chase Freedom Flex card. This is actually one of the cards on the list that I actually have in my wallet. I absolutely love this card, and when it comes to sign-up bonus, this card actually has the potential to give the highest amount of sign-up bonus out of all the other cards that are listed with the no annual fee. This card is going to give you $200 in cash back after you're spending $500 in the first 3 months of having this card. Additionally, with this sign-up bonus, you can get yourself 5x back at grocery stores for the first year up to the first $12,000 spend. When it comes to earning potential with this card, you get yourself 5x back in rotating categories each quarter. These usually end up being very easy categories to hit. We end up looking at this year, Q1, the categories were grocery stores, fitness clubs, and then also Target. And then Q2 is going to be Lowe's and Amazon. So I think that most people can actually end up maxing out this 5x category, which is up to $1,500 spend each quarter. Now, also with this card, you're gonna get yourself 3x back on dining, 3x back at drugstores, and then 1x back on all the purchases. You can also get yourself 5x back on travel purchases through Chase's travel portal, and then also 5x back on Lyft rides when you end up using this card for Lyft purchases. I am a huge fan of this card. I think that having a card that gives you 5x back with rotating categories can end up being a strong one to have in your wallet, because even if you happen to be someone who is a low spender, if you end up maxing out these rotating categories at $6,000 spend, you're still gonna get yourself $300 in cash back, which I think is an excellent return for low spenders. The next card is going to be the Capital One Saver One card. Now this card has a sign-up bonus of giving you $200 cash back after you're spending $500 in the first 3 months of having this card. When it comes to multipliers for this card, you wanna get yourself 3x back on dining, grocery stores, entertainment, and select streaming services, and you end up getting yourself 1x back on all the purchases. You get yourself 5x back when you end up booking car rentals and hotels through Capital One's travel portal, and then also with this card, you get yourself 10x back with Uber rides and Uber Eats, and you also get yourself a free Uber One membership all the way till November of 2024. I think that this is an excellent card that isn't really talked about that much. And I think that the reason for that may be because Capital One tends to not approve that many people who are later on in their credit card journey. So there may be a ton of people who actually want this card that may not end up getting approved for it. But if you actually can get yourself approved for this card, this is definitely a great no annual fee card that has a lot of 3x categories. The next card on this list is going to be the Citi Double Cash card. Now, unfortunately, as of recording this video, this card does not have a sign-up bonus. For a little bit of time last year, this card did have a sign-up bonus, but throughout this card's history, it normally doesn't have a sign-up bonus. When it comes to earning potential for this card, it's a very simple card that's gonna give you 2x back on all of your purchases. I do like a credit card that's gonna give you 2x back on all of your purchases. I think this can work out for a ton of people, but the fact that this credit card doesn't have a sign-up bonus, I think truly does hurt it, because sign-up bonuses are just so lucrative that if you end up getting yourself a credit card that doesn't have one, they're gonna end up taking you a while to catch up to the other cards that end up giving it to you as a welcome offer. And the last card on this list is going to be the Wells Fargo Autograph card. This card has a sign-up bonus of giving you 20,000 points after you're spending $1,000 in the first 3 months of having this card. Now the points end up equaling out to being 1 cent per point, so it ends up giving you $200 in cash back. This is a higher amount of spend, but I do think that it's an easy spend for most people to end up hitting. Now when it comes to the multipliers for this card's gonna give you 3x back on travel, on transit, on dining, on gas, on select streaming services, and also on cell phones. And then 1x back on all the categories. This is a lot of 3x categories. Now, I do know that there are many people who aren't big fans of Wells Fargo because of many different controversies that have been going on with them throughout the last couple of years. However, I think this card ends up being an incredibly strong card and definitely one to consider. And in fact, this card is actually gonna end up being the winner when it comes to no annual fee, 1 card in your wallet on my list. And the reason for this is because there's just so many 3x categories that I feel that people can end up getting themselves a lot of return from. Yes, the Saver One card also has a number of 3X categories, but I think that most people end up giving themselves more return from the Wells Fargo autograph card than they would from the Capital One Saver One card. So that's the reason why this card ends up being the #1 no annual fee card on my list to have a single card in your wallet. Comment in the comment section down below which one is your favorite no annual fee card. Next, we're going to look at annual fee cards, and the 4 cards on my list are going to end up being the Citi Premier card, the American Express Gold card, the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, and then also the Venture card. The Citi Premier card is going to be a card that has a sign-up bonus of giving you 60,000 Citi thank you points after you end up spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of having this card. This card does have a $95 annual fee. When it comes to earning potential for this card, you're gonna get yourself 3X back on dining, 3X back on supermarkets, 3X back on gas, 3X back on air travel, 3X back on hotels, and then 1X back on all the purchases. That is a lot of 3X categories. This is actually a card I've tried to add to my wallet, but I've been denied for. I think it's because I've been applying for it at times where I've had high velocity with credit cards, but this is definitely a card to consider because this is many categories that are gonna give you 3X back. And I think that a lot of people can definitely end up hitting these categories and getting themselves a ton of return for their spend. The next card is going to be the American Express Gold card. This is a card that I actually have in my wallet and one that I highly recommend to a ton of people. This card has a sign-up bonus that has been fluctuating. You'll see it somewhere between 60,000, 75,000, and 90,000 membership reward points you end up getting after you end up spending $4,000 in the first 6 months of having this card. Now, when it comes to the multipliers that are connected with this card, you're gonna get yourself 4X back on dining, 4X back at grocery stores, 3X back on air travel, and then 1X back on all the purchases. This card does have a $250 annual fee. However, this card actually has credits that are connected with this card that can help easily bring down the annual fee. You get yourself $10 a month with Uber. This can end up being either Uber Rides or Uber Eats. And you also get yourself a $10 a month dining credit. Now, the dining credit is connected with Grubhub and a number of other restaurants. However, I just tell most people to use Grubhub because Grubhub ends up opening up literally thousands of restaurants you can end up using this credit with. And if you end up taking advantage of both of these credits each month, you get yourself $20 a month or $240 throughout the year, which effectively brings the annual fee down to only being $10. The next card is going to be the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. Now, this card currently has a sign-up bonus of giving you 60,000 ultimate reward points after you end up spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of having this card. Now, when it comes to earning potential for this card, you're gonna get yourself 3X back on dining, 3X back on select streaming services, 3X back on online grocery stores, 2X back on travel purchases, and then 1X back on all the purchases. You can also get yourself 5X back when you end up booking travel through Chase's travel portal, and then 5X back on Lyft rides as well. Now, this card does have a $95 annual fee, but a couple cool perks with this card is you end up getting yourself a $50 hotel credit where you end up doing a hotel purchase through Chase's travel portal. And then also, if you end up redeeming your points through Chase's travel portal, you actually end up getting yourself a 25% bonus with your points. So if you end up having yourself 60,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points and you redeem them through Chase's travel portal, instead of only being $600 in value, you actually end up getting yourself $750 in value for these points. The last card is going to be the Capital One Venture card. This card currently has a sign-up bonus of giving you 75,000 venture miles after you end up spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of having this card. Now, when it comes to earning potential with this card, it's a very simple card, very similar to like the Citi Double Cash card, where you're gonna end up getting yourself 2X back in venture miles on all of your purchases. You can get yourself 5X back on hotels and car rentals when you end up booking them through Capital One's travel portal, and also you end up getting yourself 2 Capital One lounge passes. Now, when it comes to these 4 cards, I think that the American Express Gold card is going to be the one that's gonna win on this list. Getting yourself 4X back on dining and at restaurants, I think, is massive. And the fact that everyone needs to eat, these are going to be categories that a lot of people are going to end up spending high amounts of money on. Now, I do think that the Citi Premier card ends up being a close second because of all the 3X categories that are connected with this card. However, the fact that you can end up getting yourself $240 in statement credits with the American Express Gold card, I think is what ends up making this card stronger, because if you can end up taking advantage of those credits that are connected with this card, you have effectively only a $10 annual fee, and you can end up racking up so many membership reward points with this card. And I do think that the membership rewards program is stronger than the Citi Thank You program. Now, I did take into consideration the fact that Citi allows you to cash in your points at 1 cent per point, whereas American Express usually gives you well below a cent per point. The fact that you're getting yourself a card with an annual fee, you should be using these cards for travel, because if you're not going to be using these cards for travel purchases, then you might as well just get yourself a no annual fee card instead. And the last category is going to be luxury travel credit cards. Now, the 4 cards I have on this list are going to be the Capital One Venture X card, the American Express Platinum card, the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, and also the Hilton Aspire card. Now first we're gonna look at the Capital One Venture X card. Now currently the sign-up bonus for this card is going to give you 75,000 venture miles after you end up spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of having this card. This card does have a $395 annual fee, but this card also has some perks and benefits that'll help easily offset that annual fee. You get yourself a $300 travel credit. Now the way you end up getting this is by using Capital One's travel portal, and then you end up getting yourself 10,000 venture miles when you end up renewing this card. Now, venture miles can easily be at least 1 cent per point when you end up redeeming for travel purchases, or you can end up getting yourself even more value than that if you end up using transfer partners. But if you end up looking at both of these credits, you're going to be getting yourself back $400 in value for a $395 annual fee card. This is definitely excellent, and this is the reason why a lot of people have loved this card ever since this card has been released a couple of years ago. Now, when it comes to earning potential for this card, you end up getting yourself 2x back in venture miles on all purchases. You get yourself 10x back in car rentals and hotel purchases through Capital One's travel portal. You also get yourself 5x back on flights through Capital One's travel portal. With this card, you get yourself priority pass. You also get yourself access to Capital One lounges, and then also you can add a free authorized user to this card, and that authorized user gets their own priority pass. The next card is going to be the American Express Platinum card. And this card currently has a sign-up bonus that has been fluctuating from 80,000, 100,000, 125,000, or 150,000 membership reward points after you end up spending $6,000 in the first 6 months of having this card. Now, this card does have a $695 annual fee, but there are a bunch of different perks and credits you end up getting with this card. I'm not gonna go over all of them, but I'll go over some of the highlighted ones, which end up being a $200 hotel credit, a $200 airline credit, a $240 digital entertainment credit, a $200 Uber credit. You get yourself a $189 Clear credit. You get yourself a $155 Walmart Plus credit. You also get yourself $100 towards Saks Fifth Avenue. There is a bunch of different perks and credits that are connected with this card, and American Express actually says that if you actually take advantage of all of them, you get yourself over $1,500 in value. So if you can actually end up taking advantage of only just half of the credits, you can easily offset the annual fee. And you also get yourself access to American Express's Centurion Lounge, Priority Pass Lounge, and Delta Sky Club if you happen to be flying with Delta. Now, when it comes to earning potential with this card, you get yourself 5x back when you end up booking flights directly with the airlines. You get yourself 5x back when you end up booking hotels through American Express's travel, and then you end up getting yourself 1x back on all the purchases. Next is going to be the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. Now, the sign-up bonus currently for this card is going to give you 60,000 ultimate reward points after you end up spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of having this card. When it comes to earning potential for this card, you're gonna get yourself 3x back on travel purchases, 3x back on dining. You get yourself 10x back on hotels and car rentals booked through Chase's travel portal. You get yourself 5x back on flights booked through Chase's travel portal. You get 10x back on Lyft rides, and then you get 1x back on all the purchases. Now, this card does have a $550 annual fee, but again, there's gonna be some credits gonna help offset it. You get yourself a $300 travel credit. Now, this is just for your initial first $300 in travel purchases. And then also you end up getting yourself priority pass. And then your points, when you end up redeeming through Chase's travel portal, you end up getting yourself a 50% bonus. So if you end up having 60,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points that you're redeeming through Chase's travel portal, that's gonna end up being $900 in value when you end up redeeming them that way. And the last card is actually a hotel credit card, but I think this card is a super powered credit card. This is going to be the Hilton Aspire card. This card currently has a sign-up bonus of giving you 150,000 Hilton Honors points after you're spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of having this card. When it comes to earning potential with this card, you can get yourself 14x back on Hilton purchases, 7x back on flights booked directly with airlines, and then 7x back on hotels booked through Amex's travel, and then you can get yourself 7x back on dining, and then 3x back on all the purchases. Now, points are not created equal, so even though you end up seeing higher multipliers, just know that Hilton points are typically worth about 0.5 cent per point. So even though you end up seeing you're gonna get yourself 7x back on dining, think of it more as being closer to about 3.5% back on this purchase. Now, this card does have a $450 annual fee, but you get so much with this card when it comes to the perks and benefits connected with it. You get yourself a $250 airline credit, you get yourself a $250 Hilton Resorts credit, you get yourself Hilton Diamond status, and also you get yourself a free night award certificate that can be redeemed with Hilton at so many of their luxury hotels. I know many people who've redeemed this free night award certificate at hotels that would have cost them more than $800 a night. So even though the annual fee with this card is $450, if you were someone who actually likes to stay at Hilton's, you can easily offset that with this card with having all these different credits and perks, plus just getting yourself Diamond status, which is the top tier status with Hilton. This ends up being an incredible card that can give you so much value. I think that if you're someone who likes to stay at Hilton hotels, this should end up being a must add to your wallet. Now, even though there are some excellent cards on this list, I think if you can only have one card in your wallet out of these 4 cards, it should end up being the Venture X card. This card having a $395 annual fee that can easily be offset just from taking advantage of that travel credit makes this card a winner in my opinion. While I do love the American Express Platinum card, I don't think this card can end up being just a single card to have in your wallet because it doesn't have enough multipliers to be able to rack up a ton of points unless you're only using it on flight purchases. Now, when it comes to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I feel like the Venture X is just a better version of it. I think that they're going to need to do some type of revamping with this card because when you end up just comparing these two cards, it just makes more sense to go with the Venture X card if you can end up getting approved for that card. Well, I do think that the Hilton Aspire card is an excellent card. Not everyone loves to stay at Hilton hotels, so just for that reason, this card wasn't able to be the #1 on the list. But let me know in the comment section down below if you could choose one no annual fee credit card, one annual fee credit card, and one luxury credit card, which one it end up being. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you do happen to have any questions, drop them down in the comment section down below. I'll do the best I can to answer them. If you happen to be interested in any of these credit cards, I will have referral links in the description box, and if you decide to use them, they will really help out the channel, and I'll be incredibly thankful for your support. If you happen to really like this channel, then please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace.